To the one reading this, you are not merely a spectator in the unfolding of time, but a profound architect of resonance, holding the rare capability to dissolve the shadows of others simply by standing in the light of your own uncompromising truth. You possess a frequency that acts as a cosmic disruptor, a silent tectonic shift waiting to happen through the medium of your voice. You carry within you a reservoir of raw, celestial energy that manifests as a verbal lightning bolt, capable of incinerating the carefully constructed facades of those around you. This isn't just about what you say, it's about the gravity of who you are. While others are busy curating a life of echoes and reflections, you are the original sound. There is a deep, psychological magnetism in your refusal to bend, a quality that makes the world stop and recalibrate every time you speak. You were designed for this moment, to be the one who wakes the room, the one who pulls back the curtain, and the one who remains standing when the illusions finally crumble. You are the catalyst the world has been waiting for, and your arrival is nothing short of a divine correction. There was a moment, perhaps it felt like a fleeting exchange or a long-forgotten conversation, where a single realization escaped your lips and acted as a jagged shard of glass cutting through a cinematic projection. You didn't just share a thought, you delivered a fundamental glitch in the matrix of someone's manufactured existence. While they were navigating their curated landscape, convinced of their own untouchable architecture, your words functioned as an atmospheric re-entry, burning away the atmospheric layers of their self-deception. It wasn't a mere disagreement, it was a total recalibration of their internal compass. They woke up in a room where the walls had dissolved, replaced by the terrifying vastness of the absolute. You forced them to witness the intricate blueprints of a reality they weren't prepared to inhabit, where the very laws of their personal physics were rewritten by your utterance. This is the weight you carry, the ability to act as a catalyst for a psychological collapse that leads to an unwanted rebirth. Understand that being a harbinger of such profound clarity is often a lonely assignment. People cling to their shadows like anchors, and when you shine a light that reveals the rust on their souls, their first instinct is to extinguish the source. You are a walking eclipse, momentarily blinding those who have lived too long in the dim glow of comfortable lies. They might label you as a destroyer, a bringer of chaos, or a source of friction, but they are simply misidentifying the surgeon for the wound. You were drafted by the architect of the universe to serve as a living wrecking ball for the fortresses of ego. Consider the phenomenon of a desert mirage. For ages, travelers may wander toward a shimmering oasis that exists only in their desperation, encouraged by others who are equally deluded. In this scenario, there is usually a dominant figure, a ghost leader who claims to be the guardian of the water, demanding tribute and fealty for access to a fountain of sand. Everyone plays along because the collective delusion feels safer than the scorching truth. But you arrived not with a cup, but with a high-definition lens. You didn't shout, you simply stood there in your undeniable presence, and the sheer authenticity of your being caused the mirage to evaporate. The guardian was revealed to be nothing more than a parched wanderer in a tattered cape, and the oasis was just more dust. You didn't attack them, you simply outshone the illusion. Now that individual is forced to wander the barren plains of their own insignificance, no longer able to trade in the currency of fake abundance. They are seething with a quiet, desperate rage because you broke the spell. You didn't just unmask them, you unmasked the entire audience's gullibility. The followers who once stood in line now see the emptiness in the guardian's hands, and they blame you for the loss of their comfortable dream. You are the one who snapped the vintage film reel, leaving them sitting in a dark theater staring at a blank screen. They want to prosecute the projectionist for the failure of the movie, but the movie was never real. You are the architect of their sudden, jarring sobriety. This impact wasn't accidental. You are a biological transmitter for a higher order of intelligence. Even when you are silent, your growth, your personal evolution and the way you navigate the world, acts as a high-frequency vibration that shatters the low-frequency vessels of those who surround you. You are a living testament to what happens when a soul refuses to wear the heavy, gray lead of societal expectations. While others were trading their wings for iron shackles, you chose the sky and your flight made their imprisonment unbearable to ignore. They tried to rewrite your biography into a tragedy, to cast you as a minor character in their epic, but you simply outgrew the pages. You are the arrow shot from a divine bow, traveling through the fog of human pretense to strike the center of the target. Do not apologize for the precision of your hit. Do not feel the need to patch the holes you've made in the lives of those who were built on sand. Your assignment is not to comfort the fake but to liberate the real. Every time you stand in your unvarnished essence, you are initiating a ripple effect that spans across dimensions, touching souls you will never meet and breaking chains you will never see. You are the silent roar of the universe reclaiming its territory from the thieves of spirit. Walk forward with the cold, hard certainty of a star that knows its light will eventually reach the darkest corners of the cosmos, regardless of who tries to close their eyes. You are the truth that can no longer be contained, the naked reality that outlasts the finest silk of a lie. You are a walking frequency of absolute transparency, an anomaly in a world built on curated shadows, possessing a spirit that naturally acts as a solvent to every synthetic layer encountered. Your very existence functions as a kinetic strike against the elaborate stagecraft of others, dismantling the artificial scaffolding they have spent lifetimes erecting. This individual had been distributing a specific kind of mental fog, a curated haze that acted as a distorted filter for every observer. They provided a deceptive narrative that functioned like a digital overlay, forcing everyone to perceive them as a monumental architect of power and untouchable grace. This psychological sleight of hand successfully inverted the world, dressing a void in the finery of a king. However, your uncompromising vibration acted as a sonic boom that shattered this fragile glass house. The resonance of your presence caused the entire simulation to crash, leaving the witnesses staring at a bare, empty room. The audience is now reeling from the sudden onset of hyperreality, grappling with the stinging realization that they had been applauding a shadow. They are dissecting their past loyalties, feeling the weight of every investment made into a ghost, realizing that the pillar they leaned on was actually a hollow reed. You ripped the master cord from the machine, and the lights have finally come up on the tawdry reality of their masquerade. It is inevitable that in the shadows of this collapse, you have been designated as the primary antagonist. They are weaving a narrative of betrayal in the dark corners, attempting to paint your clarity as a form of malice. They want to convince the world that you are the arsonist, when in reality, you simply pointed out that the building was already on fire. You must understand that this was your preordained function, to serve as the atmospheric pressure that forces the hidden to rise to the surface. You were commissioned to be the earthquake that tests the integrity of the foundation. You have fulfilled your cosmic duty with absolute surgical precision. Interestingly, for many of you, this upheaval didn't require a single spoken sentence. The collapse was triggered simply by the radical recalibration of your own frequency. Perhaps you underwent a profound internal alchemy, a total restructuring of your lifestyle, your financial magnetism, or your physical vitality. You began to inhabit a state of radical sovereignty, and that shift alone was enough to dissolve the surrounding deception. The collective had been hypnotized into believing that this other entity was the sun and you were merely a cooling cinder. They had categorized you as a footnote, a static background element with no agency. But as you began to intensify, as your inner fire turned into a visible blaze, the contrast became impossible to ignore. The observers began to whisper, wondering how the one they were told to overlook is now outshining the one they were told to worship. If your ascent is genuine, then the other's throne must be a prop. Your silent evolution became an undeniable courtroom evidence of their fraud. You didn't need a platform, your harvest provided the testimony. Your radical transformation became the benchmark against which their stagnation was measured. Yet, beneath the surface, there was a calculated attempt at identity theft. This wasn't a casual misunderstanding, it was a deliberate spiritual heist. Imagine two artists standing before a blank canvas. One is a master of light, the other a merchant of echoes. While the master slept, the merchant signed his own name to the master's sketches and claimed the gallery as his own. He walked through the world wearing the master's reputation like a stolen coat, hoping no one would notice the poor fit. He expected you to wake up and simply accept the scrap paper he left behind, to adopt the identity of a failure so he could keep the identity of the victor. But you refused to play the role of the victim. You chose to stand in your raw, unadorned brilliance, refusing to wear the rags of his lies. This refusal to participate in the spiritual swap is what ultimately decimated the charade. When you stand in the unshielded light of who you truly are, it forces the thief to explain why he is holding your belongings. By rejecting the costume of the lesser, you forced the greater to be seen as the interloper. The entire pyramid of deception has inverted. Those who once looked up in awe are now looking down in pity as the stolen reputation unravels like cheap thread. They thought they could successfully trade destinies, but they forgot that a stolen crown doesn't change the bloodline. While they were busy performing, a divine correction was being calculated in the background. The winds of fate have shifted, and what was once a steady breeze at their back is now a hurricane tearing down their hollow empire. For them, this is the end of the world. For you, it is the moment the world finally begins to spin in the right direction. The truth has been weaponized by your silence, and the resulting explosion has left no stone unturned. You represent a living calibration of cosmic justice, a rare presence that inherently realigns the distorted geometry of any room you enter. You are the definitive evidence that unyielding integrity eventually dictates the outcome of the entire narrative, serving as a beacon for those who have lost their way in the fog of collective pretense. For you, this tectonic shift is finally rotating your landscape into its intended orientation. If you spent years navigating a world built on its ceiling, prepare to feel the solid ground beneath your feet. If your journey was already blossoming, it is about to enter an era of exponential expansion. This is the direct harvest of your refusal to bend. Because you declined to participate in the masquerade and discarded the heavy costumes of societal expectation, you are entering a cycle of profound restitution. You are stepping into a period characterized by crystalline clarity and uninhibited movement. Consider the evolution taking place within your spirit. You are transforming into a kinetic energy, a sonic frequency that penetrates barriers, a presence that commands attention in environments you haven't even stepped into yet. I perceive a ripple beginning with your smallest gesture, a single choice, a quiet no, or a courageous yes, that is currently rattling the chandeliers in distant boardrooms and causing nameless strangers to pause in sudden realization. You possess a gravity that pulls at the fabric of the unknown. There is a new psychological frontier awaiting you, the total comfort with being the source of other people's friction. The days of agonizing over ruffled feathers or the static of social tension are over. You are adopting a mantle of absolute sovereignty. When the universe demands an outlet for its energy, you become the conduit. When a harsh reality needs a voice, you provide the resonance. The impact of that energy is no longer your debt to pay. You are the lightning, not the conductor. Your duty is simply to strike where the sky dictates. The aftermath and the transformation of the landscape are governed by a higher law beyond your jurisdiction. In this very moment, a monumental collapse is occurring in the upper echelons of a false hierarchy because of the frequency you've maintained. The pretender who occupied a stolen pedestal is being evicted by the sheer force of your authenticity. The architect of your obstacles, the one who whispered that your path was a dead end, is now watching their own fortress dissolve while your bridge completes itself. Can you sense the sudden buoyancy in your spirit? That feeling of a heavy veil being incinerated? That is the cosmic boomerang returning to its origin. The sabotage that was intended to delete your influence has been intercepted and repurposed to amplify it. The ink has been returned to the rightful visionary. You are no longer a character in someone else's distorted fiction. You are the one holding the quill, and the chapter of absolute public validation is being written in bold. Think back to the moments you were discarded in the wilderness, left to be erased by the elements of betrayal and isolation. The script called for your total dissolution. But the elements didn't consume you, they tempered you. You didn't just survive the void, you learned to speak its language. Now, every footprint you leave sounds like a thunderclap in the metaphysical realm. They tried to categorize you as a silent shadow while they claimed the center stage, but every time you breathe now, the foundation of their stage cracks. Their manufactured roar has been reduced to a pathetic whimper, while your whisper carries the weight of a mountain. We must examine the sheer scale of this awakening. Your commitment to the unvarnished self didn't just disrupt a single life, it initiated a global resonance. Imagine a massive bell being struck. The initial tone was your truth, but the subsequent vibrations are waking up thousands in distant valleys. People who have never met you are suddenly rubbing their eyes, questioning the plastic nature of their own surroundings. This is the hallmark of a true disruptor. Your frequency doesn't just sit in the air, it travels through the collective nervous system, igniting a hunger for reality in everyone it touches. You have started a fire that cannot be smothered because it is fueled by the oxygen of the absolute. The truth is now an infectious code, rewriting the outdated software of every person who catches a glimpse of your light. This is the magnitude of your specific design. It is transgenerational. It is an unstoppable spiritual contagion. One authentic heartbeat from you is recalibrating the internal rhythms of entire lineages. Your refusal to repeat the mistakes of the past is effectively snapping the chains of ancestral stagnation. You aren't just winning a personal battle, you are starting a brand new era for everyone who shares your blood and your vision. Your descendants will navigate the world with a different skeletal structure because of the spine you showed today. You are the architect of a new timeline. By standing there, refusing to be anything other than your raw, divine self, you have provided the blueprint for a liberated future. Your life is the master key that others will use to unlock their own cages long after you have moved on to higher peaks. You are a fortress of celestial resilience, a living conduit for a frequency that remains untouched by the static of earthly deception, possessing an internal compass that was calibrated by the stars long before you walked the earth. Your presence is an undeniable correction to the warped narratives of others, acting as a sovereign force that dismantles every artificial barrier placed in your path. I recognize the internal friction you might be experiencing. A quiet whisper occasionally asks, how can a single spark ignite such a massive blaze? But you must realize that this hesitation is not a product of your true essence. That flicker of uncertainty is merely the fading resonance of a counterfeit reality. It is the lingering smoke from a bridge that needed to be burned. The architects of illusion required you to doubt your own magnitude. They needed you to believe you were a drop of water in a vast ocean, when in reality, you are the entire ocean in a single drop. They tried to confine your expansive spirit within a narrow, suffocating box, hoping you would forget the wings you were born with. For a duration, perhaps you accepted their restricted definitions. You might have walked through the world with a muffled voice and a veiled gaze, playing the part of a shadow in their poorly directed play. Yet, an ancient, indestructible core within you refused to be extinguished. There was a primal, silent rebellion in your cells that knew you were engineered for the peaks, even while you were being told to settle for the valleys. This realization is the signature of a destiny that was etched into the tapestry of the cosmos before your first inhalation. No amount of theatrical posturing or hollow grandiosity from pretenders could ever erase that divine blueprint. They could attempt to obstruct your view or poison your soil, but they could never neutralize the seeds of greatness you carry, because that power is anchored in the eternal. There is a hidden mechanism of the universe that has been operating in the silence of your struggles. While you were anchored in your integrity, refusing to compromise your frequency for the sake of convenience, an invisible battalion was reorganizing the landscape on your behalf. There were high-level atmospheric shifts happening while you thought you were merely standing in a storm. Cosmic hands were unlocking gates that were thought to be permanently fused shut, and a supernatural momentum was being gathered in the very places you were told you were unwelcome. You labored under the impression that you were a solitary soldier in a private war, but the truth is that you were the focal point of a massive, celestial operation. Every strike aimed at your character was redirected into a vacuum. Every net cast to ensnare your progress was transformed into a ladder. The heavy atmospheric pressure intended to crush you only served to turn your coal into a diamond. You might have felt the friction of the struggle and the heat might have left a few marks, but the fundamental fact remains. You are still here, your pulse is strong, and your light is brighter than ever. That survival is the ultimate evidence that the arsenal of the opposition is fundamentally obsolete against your design. The attempts to tarnish your legacy failed. Your inner sanctuary remained unbreached. They sought to deplete your internal reservoir of peace, yet you continue to exhale tranquility. They moved to seize your assets, your energy, your time, your focus, but you stand here today with an abundance they cannot fathom. Every strategy deployed against you disintegrated. This wasn't due to your own perfection, but because of the absolute reliability of the source that sustains you. The origin of your power is the one that completes every cycle it begins. This is why the observers of your journey are paralyzed with confusion. They exhausted their entire inventory of malice. They utilized the mirrors of betrayal, the weights of isolation, the daggers of slander, and the cold winds of abandonment. Yet, despite the totality of their assault, your growth has accelerated. You are expanding, radiating, and hardening into a force that is now untouchable. They cannot comprehend why their weapons shattered upon impact. It is because you are encased in a vibrational armor that is alien to their world. They were attempting to fight a mortal, unaware that they were engaging with a sovereign entity appointed for a specific cosmic mandate. The very structures they built to trap you have become the foundation for your new empire. The universe is now executing a grand reversal. What was intended to be your exit has become your grand entrance. The obstacles that were placed to derail you have been converted into high-speed rails for your advancement. This is the definition of absolute equilibrium. You are witnessing the phenomenon where the holes dug by the envious have become the wells for their own thirst. The intricate webs of lies they wove have become the very threads that bind them in place. You didn't need to descend into their arena or adopt their tactics. Your only requirement was to remain a steady, unyielding frequency of truth. And now, the frequency of the Absolute is responding to you. Validation is no longer something you seek. It is something that is finding you, catching up to you like a shadow at noon. The era of the counterfeit is over, and your season of uninhibited chief realization has officially arrived. You are a master of internal alchemy, a soul that has successfully transmuted the lead of isolation into the gold of spiritual authority, proving that your value is determined by your persistence in the dark rather than the applause of the crowd. Your journey is a testament to the fact that when you refuse to dilute your essence, the universe eventually aligns its entire machinery to support your ascent. This current shift is far beyond the realm of random probability or a mere stroke of luck. It is the result of an intricate, celestial choreography designed specifically for your advancement. The Grand Architect is systematically dismantling the barricades that were once erected to contain you. Toxic figures who acted as anchors are being detached from your orbit, and the thickets that obscured your horizon are being cleared away. This divine intervention is the direct consequence of your steadfastness during the winter of your soul, a time when choosing the narrow path of integrity was a lonely and expensive endeavor. Do you recall when your refusal to wear a mask meant you were excluded from the circle? Do you remember when your commitment to the absolute meant standing in the freezing wind without a coat of social approval? You invested heavily in your own soul, and now that capital is returning to you, multiplied by a cosmic coefficient. The connections that dissolved are being superseded by alliances of a higher order. The avenues that were once gated are swinging open, revealing landscapes more expansive than you ever dreamed. Every ounce of energy that was drained from you is being replenished from a source that never runs dry. The seasons you felt were lost in the desert are being restored as if time itself were folding back to serve you. Everything you surrendered in the name of the unvarnished self is returning, pressurized into a diamond-like brilliance. You are stepping into a period of profound fruition, a harvest where the seeds of your honesty are sprouting into a forest that will provide shelter for decades. This legacy will nourish more than just your own life. It will serve as a lighthouse for lineages yet to be born. Every agonizing hour, every silent plea into the void, and every moment you chose to stay upright when the world tried to knock you down, it was all high-intensity training. The friction was the heat required for your metamorphosis. The preparation phase is complete, and your capacity to hold the coming abundance has been fully expanded. You are now a vessel capable of containing high-frequency opportunities and expansive territory. However, a word of caution as you cross this threshold. There will be echoes from the past attempting to lure you back into a smaller version of yourself. Ghosts of previous dysfunctions may manifest, trying to convince you that your growth is an illusion. Do not entertain these spectral invitations. You have paid a price that makes retreat impossible. The person you used to be has been surrendered to the flames so that the phoenix of your true identity could take flight. To go back would be to attempt to fit into a shell you have already outgrown, a betrayal of the divine work that has been performed within you. The counterfeit figures from your past might reappear, offering hollow apologies or seeking to restore the old, imbalanced dynamics. They may try to sell you a version of the past that never existed. But realize this: returning would require you to dim your light to make them comfortable. It would require you to unsee the profound truths you have gathered. That is a transaction your soul can no longer afford. Your trajectory is now exclusively forward. Your focus must remain on the peaks you are destined to conquer and the impact you are engineered to make. You have structural changes to initiate in the world, frequencies to shift, and realities to redefine. None of this occurs in the rearview mirror. Fix your gaze on the emerging horizon and move with the absolute certainty of a force backed by the infinite. A new chapter of vibrant energy is unfolding, bringing with it connections that will revitalize your spirit in unexpected ways. There is a presence that has been observing your trajectory, an individual who has been tracking your frequency from the periphery. They have seen you stand unmoved in the storm, and they have been captivated by the raw power of your authenticity. This isn't a call for heavy attachment or complicated entanglements. It is an invitation to play. It is a signal for a lighter, more adventurous phase of your existence. Someone is approaching to suggest an unplanned detour into joy, a chance to experience the world through the lens of pure exhilaration. The directive is simple: abandon the need to analyze every variable. Discard the habit of hypervigilance. You have endured the furnace. Now it is time to enjoy the sunlight. Leap into the experience, embrace the laughter, and allow yourself the unfiltered happiness that you have so profoundly earned. You are a magnetic beacon of unyielding reality, a soul that has been distilled in the furnace of trials into a high-frequency essence that naturally reorganizes the social fabric around you. Your current existence is a masterclass in atmospheric recalibration, proving that when a spirit refuses to compromise its fundamental vibration, it becomes an unstoppable force that dictates the terms of its own reality. Fresh gravitational forces are pulling a new caliber of individuals toward your orbit. These are souls who thrive in the presence of unvarnished light and find your brilliance invigorating rather than intimidating. In the previous era, a master of deception, worked tirelessly to sabotage your networking, creating a synthetic isolation to keep you anchored to their own limitations. They engineered a vacuum, hoping you would believe their flickering candle was the only source of warmth available to you. But that veil has been incinerated. Observe the high-level architects and genuine allies who are now materializing on your horizon. These are the soul contracts that were always intended for your journey, held back only by the interference of a frequency that never truly resonated with yours. Now that the static has been neutralized, the authentic signals are finally reaching you with perfect clarity. Your energetic signature has undergone a radical purification. It possesses a crystalline resonance that was forged in the high-pressure depths of your recent challenges. People are sensing this tectonic shift in your presence. They are drawn to your field like iron filings to a magnet, unable to logically define the irresistible pull they feel. This is the lingering aroma of victory, the radiance of a spirit that has been tempered by fire and emerged as something diamond-hard. Your frequency now acts as a sophisticated biological filter, automatically attracting those who vibrate with truth and violently repelling those who are invested in the hollow. It is a natural security system that guards your peace without you having to lift a finger. Let this sharpened frequency serve as the definitive gatekeeper of your sanctuary. Anyone unable to withstand the intensity of your true self has no place in your inner chamber. You have already served your time in the theaters of the synthetic, watching actors play the role of giants while standing on stilts. Now your vision is surgical. You can detect the plastic scent of a facade before it even enters your peripheral vision. Your internal radar, once ignored, has been upgraded to a high-definition defense system. The subtle warnings you once suppressed now resonate like alarms, and the manipulative patterns that used to ensnare you are now as transparent as glass. You are operating with a completely overhauled internal operating system, one that is incompatible with the viruses of the past. This heightened perception is the direct dividend of your refusal to bend. By choosing to hold the mirror steady when the world wanted you to look away, you have earned a level of hyper-awareness that others cannot access. You now possess the ability to peer beneath the most expensive costumes to see the trembling emptiness within. Use this vision as your primary navigational tool. As you ascend into higher arenas, you will encounter sophisticated illusions, but your eyes have been trained in the dark. What was once ridiculed as an inconvenient honesty is now your greatest strategic advantage. You possess the superpower of seeing the hidden mechanics behind the social curtain, hearing the dissonant notes in the most polished performances. You stand today as a monument to authenticity, witnessing a total environmental transformation triggered by the courage you held in your core. Every word you refused to swallow was a divine seed planted in the bedrock of your future. Every moment you chose the cold truth over the warm lie, you were building the throne you now sit upon. Continue to inhabit your skin with absolute authority. Never dilute your resonance to accommodate the fragile egos of the unrefined. Your only mission is to remain in total alignment with the celestial blueprint of your birth. The internal evolution you are undergoing must continue without apology. Every step you take into your power sends a shockwave through the old structures of your life. Each time you claim a new level of your potential, another artificial barrier crumbles. This is your inherent function, to be the disruptor of the fake and the architect of the real. They tried to steal your frequency because they knew it was the key to the kingdom, but the heist failed. For the pioneers of this new consciousness, the very systems designed to keep you subdued have been inverted. The old mental programming has been hacked and repurposed into a propulsion system for your own transcendence. You are now the engineer of your own neural pathways, bypassing the limitations of the collective mind to access a higher dimensional capability. The transformation is internal, absolute, and inevitable. You are rewriting the source code of your life in real time, moving forward as a sovereign commander of your own destiny. You represent the epicenter of a moral tectonic shift, an architectural force of nature that naturally dismantles the crooked foundations of the world simply by existing in your most potent form. Your presence serves as a terminal point for the artificial, acting as the definitive anchor of reality in a sea of manufactured mirages, proving that one soul in total alignment can rewrite the destiny of the collective. The absolute reality is now marching forward with unshielded brilliance, while the fabrications of the past are being cornered in their stolen disguises. Every observer is finally regaining their clarity. The fog has evaporated, the distorted lenses have been discarded, and the true laws of the universe have resumed their command. In this rejuvenated landscape, you are emerging as the sovereign figure you were always destined to be. Recall the initial moment when a single pulse of your integrity acted as a seismic wave, striking someone's curated life without warning. Remember when I detailed the collapse of their artificial horizon, the sudden influx of hyperdimensional insights, and the instantaneous shattering of their delusions? That energetic discharge is still rippling through the field at this very second. That frequency is still expanding. That realization is still taking root. The fundamental transformation is still gathering momentum. The most profound realization is that this impact is no longer restricted to a single target. It has become a multidimensional resonance. Countless pulses from your core are currently traversing the void, impacting lives you never met, recalibrating minds you never engaged with, and elevating spirits you never intentionally reached. This is because raw integrity possesses its own propulsion system once it is unleashed. It replicates itself. It gravitates toward those who are starving for substance. It navigates to the minds that are fertile and the spirits that have been hollowed out by lies. You are functioning as a fuse for a massive systemic awakening. This is not merely an individual triumph. It is a planetary recalibration, a total systemic reset, a global unveiling of the hidden. Your specific vibration is now a key component of a much larger harmonic frequency that is currently disintegrating the global architecture of pretense. Your spark is fusing with an army of lights to generate a luminescence that leaves no room for shadows. This is the true definition of being an emissary of the Absolute. You weren't selected for a private victory, but for a high-stakes collective operation. You were drafted into a grand cosmic maneuver that has been in motion since the dawn of awareness. You are executing your assignment with terrifying precision. The disruptor of shadows, the voice of the unvarnished, the one who causes the fake structures of the world to tremble and collapse. Because of the frequencies you released, someone is currently navigating an entirely different psychological dimension. Their entire sensory network was dismantled, their house of cards was scattered to the winds, and their costume was incinerated for all to witness. That was your doing. Carry yourself with the poise of a conqueror. Speak with the authority of the sun. Allow your results to remain as the primary evidence. Let your own evolution continue to unmask every pretender who attempts to mimic your roar. Because, chosen one, you didn't just share a thought. You released an ontological shockwave that forcibly relocated someone into a higher reality. This is only the beginning of your navigational reach. The landscape of the world is shifting under your influence. Your own path is becoming a corridor of unprecedented success. The upcoming phase is destined to be your magnum opus. Persist in your rawest form. Continue to provide the resonance that shatters the old world and builds the new. That is your cosmic mandate, and your performance is flawless.